Most people have no idea that one fall can change their life forever. As a home care physical therapist, I see the real cost every day, and it's rarely just the hospital bill. In this video, I break down the true cost of a fall, including long term care, loss of independence, and why so many people are so caught off guard following a fall. Many people assume that the hospital bill will be the real cost associated with the fall. Emergency room, imaging, a few nights stay in the hospital, surgical costs, and maybe even a short term rehab stay afterwards. It sounds like a lot, but if you're insured, your insurance will cover most of it. And it might surprise you to know that Medicare spends $50 billion per year on non fatal fall injuries. But here's the thing you're likely not thinking about yet: the real cost isn't going to be in the form of a bill. It's in the way your life will be changed in the months and years that follow. Because here's a part that no one seems to plan for: the long term care that's often needed after a fall and serious injury. People think they might need help for a few weeks, but it often turns out to be far longer than that, potentially for the rest of their lives. This is the progression that I see after someone has a serious injury following a fall. After they get out of the hospital, they go to rehab for a few weeks, and then when they get home, family members usually will help out at first. And for the family member, that requires time off from work and time away from their own busy lives and immediate family, which leads to burnout and then strain on relationships. Just think about this. Imagine if you needed help to get out of your chair or off the toilet. Could your son or daughter help you get up? Maybe, but how about needing that help many times per day and then day after day for weeks on end? It becomes exhausting no matter how strong the person helping you is. Believe me, I'm 200 pounds, I've worked out my whole life, and it still takes a lot of effort to help someone stand up just one time. And eventually, family members realize they can't do everything on their own. And that's the point where home health aides are hired, or if they were already involved, then their hours get increased to full time. And that is not cheap at all. You can ask anyone who has had to pay for aides around the clock. And then, usually, somewhere in this process, the person who fell starts needing help with more and more and more of their day. What I see from there is if the patient who fell doesn't continue to get stronger, it's usually not long before they end up in an assisted living facility where they can get some extra help without the family having to spend all their time and effort every day. And let's be clear, people don't choose this. They slide into this because living at home is becoming too big a problem for all parties involved. And at this point, families can be faced with tough financial decisions, including selling the house much earlier than they had ever expected. It can be a painful choice, but it's often the only choice to pay for a facility that can cost well over 10 grand a month. But truly, the most expensive part of a fall is the loss of independence. And independence isn't about being tough, it's a choice. It's choosing when you go to the bathroom, when you shower, what you eat, and whether you even leave the house. After a fall, many people need help with the most basic parts of their day: getting on and off the toilet, stepping into the shower, and even standing at the counter long enough to make or grab a meal. I know it doesn't even seem imaginable for you right now, but for plenty of people, this is only one fall away. Any daily activity you can do effortlessly right now has the potential to become an issue if you fall and break a hip, ankle, or shoulder. And when these daily activities become an issue, fear sets in and people naturally just move less. We all would. It's a natural thing to do, right? And because of that, strength, balance, and endurance will only further decline. That extra bit of caution they believe they're doing is actually raising their fall risk every single day. Loss of strength and balance in this scenario isn't like turning a light on and off. It's more of a dimmer switch. And as you move less, the light gets dimmer and dimmer until one day you realize you can't see clearly anymore. Which is why people who fall once are actually twice as likely to fall again. Without even realizing it, they've robbed themselves of strength. This is why just one fall can be the start of a downward cycle that leads to loss of independence over the coming many years. And it's why so many older adults never return to living independently after a fall. This cycle is common, but it doesn't have to be that way. The reason I talk about this stuff isn't to scare you. It's because falls don't come out of nowhere. What I see over and over is that people lose their independence not from one bad day or a bad week. It's typically from years of neglecting their strength, sitting too much, and thinking that this won't ever happen to them. Or even from staying active but focusing on the wrong things. Walking and the elliptical are great for your heart and mind, but they don't train the strength and balance you need to prevent falls during real life movements. The good news is that strength and balance can be built at any age, as long as you're intentional about training the things that actually do protect your independence. And just staying active doesn't mean you're training to stay independent.